With this feeling I can leave. I'm working and I'm dreaming. Will you dare to give it all up and walk by my side? Do you see the road? Do you hear its call? Do you want a part of it? Just getting me above now. Just getting me above. See the sun goes down, driving lights in hearts, counting trees around. This is our day to dream. My heart it's cursed with you. My heart is cursed with you. Do you see the road? Just get me home. Do you see the road? Just get me See the sun goes down, driving lights in hearts, counting trees around. This is our day to dream. My heart it's cursed with you. My heart is cursed with you. Do you see the road? Just get me home. Do you see the road? Just get me
All right. Here we go. This is State of the Nation. You're with Jason Bainbridge. And we are on State of the Nation. And we are about to go live. In fact, we are live. So I'm going to stop screening there. Welcome to the show. As you can see, I've got a new background. And to prove it, that it's not green screen, I'm going to play the video, which hopefully will play when I click it. Boom, State of the Nation. So here we are. We are live on State of the Nation, and we are back. It's been a bit of a while, but yeah, we got it done eventually. So here we are, and I'm going to open the first show, and I've got quite a conundrum, actually. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned about New Zealand at the moment. Super duper concerned. Now, there was an event that took place yesterday with a woman called Posie Parker, and I'm going to bring up some videos and not really screenshots. I'm going to bring up some web pages that I've got already lined up for this to talk about this situation. So, yeah, as you can see, I'm on my own today, possibly because of the time zone, but I wanted to get ahead of the media on this. And I really wanted to get ahead of the narrative and really break this down and figure out what the heck is happening in New Zealand. Now, I'm going to start with a bit of backstory. In 2020, when the lockdown started, there was this blue wave summer of love that took place in the US, right? So essentially, what that was is a bunch of Democrats, Antifa, BLM, and everybody else that wanted to jump in the financial bandwagon. They just started destroying everything, right? And I put a plea out on my Facebook page that, like, we can't let this happen in New Zealand. But lo and behold, that's exactly what's happened. It has happened in New Zealand. And it's here now. It's 3 years a little late, but it's finally arrived. So I figured that we were going to probably avoid this because of the actions taken by all those lovely people that convoyed all the way to Wellington Parliament and set up the Freedom Camp. But it looks like that we have not been able to avoid it at all. And it's just delayed reaction, and they're here. And this is quite concerning for me, to be honest, because I've been looking at this for quite a while. And, you know, I don't have anything against trans people, nothing at all. I know tons of trans people. In fact, I went to school with a person who started off as a male, ended up as a female, and they ended up being studying at film school just like I did. And, you know, the makers of the Matrix started as a male, ended up as a female, but it doesn't really matter. But what does matter, what really does matter, is that these people are really trying to shove it down our throat now. And that's a major problem. They're really trying to shove this stuff down our throat and literally just taking over. And again, I don't have any problem with gay or trans or anything. Elizabeth, whatever. They're just people. You know, they're just doing. But the fact that they've infiltrated our schools, the fact that they've got into politics, the fact that they're literally trying to run the country, and they're a minority, an unpopular minority, and most of those people are actually, in fact, on a payroll. They're on a payroll by the far left, because that's the only way they can get it done. All right. So I'm going to start off this little tutorial today with a News Hub article. So I'm going to share this, and we're going to start off with a News Hub article because it says volumes. What's been happening there in New Zealand is really just the next step of the national takeover, essentially. It's the next step of the national takeover of just lunacy. So here we are. Here we are at it again, and I'm going to play this for you. And it's 4 minutes, 13 minutes long, but I want you to take heed. I'm going to take myself off the screen so I can fix up my little glitch in the computer here behind me. But have a listen. Have a listen. This stuff is just over the top.
The anti-transgender campaigner Posie Parker was drowned out by protesters when she tried to speak in Auckland today. A couple of thousand people opposed to her views shouted "Go home" and one threw tomato sauce at her. Forced to leave the stage, she was bundled away by police. Nick Trubridge was there.
Chaos in the park. Differences of opinion descending into riotous scenes in downtown Auckland. Posie Parker didn't get a lot of speaking at her Let Women Speak event. Difficult to do that when you're met with this. Initially, there was plenty of support for the British anti-trans activist.
Well, I've come to support women. and the protection of women's safe spaces, to put it simply.
So my darling granddaughters can have their space and changing rooms and toilets like we used to have.
But this stop on Parker's tour was doomed before it started. As she arrived, so did the masses and the noise.
Posie Parker is due to start speaking here at 11 a.m, but there's not much chance of her being heard. The noise here is unbelievable. They've already had what looked like projectiles thrown at them. It'll be interesting to see whether they can get started. For now, not much of a chance.
Suddenly, it was all on. Barriers broken. Albert Park's rotunda was stormed. The Brit herself in the firing line. Tomato sauce bombed by someone disguised as a supporter. Eventually, she was forced out, ushered through crowds and into a waiting police car. The state may have granted Parker entry, but trans rights protesters had other ideas.
Can I ask why you've come here today?
Because I'm a good person. Because I'm a good person.
To protect my trans brothers and sisters from people like this. Get out of New Zealand with these people. They don't belong here. Trans people belong everywhere. Fascists don't.
Even after one side was driven out, tension continued to boil over.
Posie Parker has left the venue. She was ushered out of here soon after she attempted to start talking, but minutes after she's left, these clashes are still happening in the vicinity of Albert Park.
Parker's supporters still spreading their message.
Because I believe that woman is woman, that the biological woman has a right to defend her inherent rights.
As trans rights protesters assembled down the road, this time taking their message to a nearby rally for Hannah Tamaki's Vision NZ party. The rolling mall made its way down Queen Street to the waterfront, then turned back, and in doing so, the two opposing groups briefly confronted one another before dispersing. A clash of ideas spilling out onto Auckland streets.
Kia ora, Nick. Posie Parker is, of course, due to speak in Wellington tomorrow. Does that mean this is all going to happen again?
Well, the short answer, Laura, is no, it won't be happening again, because we have just heard from Posie Parker's representatives to say this event will not be going ahead in Wellington tomorrow. In a nutshell, her security have advised her that
Well, of course it
will
won't
be
safe. Carrying
a little bit more from Posie
I
Parker's
mean, really,
camp.
who would want to put up
Plan
with
on
that
laying
sort
a
of rubbish?
complaint with the
The
independent
whole
police.
thing was a setup, if you ask me. The whole thing was set up, and the media is complicit in this. And I'm going to tell you this straight up, News Hub and stuff.co.nz. You are complicit in dividing the nation. Absolutely complicit in dividing the nation. The type of stories that you put out are people who are just trying to save what little nostalgia and free speech and freedom that is remaining in this country. The way that you abuse them and just and vilify them is terrible. It's absolutely terrible what's going on in New Zealand. So I've got a few more images here and videos that I'm going to load up here, and this is one of them. Luckily, we have this new thing called Share the Tab. So I'm going to flip this over, and you can watch. This has apparently come out that it was a pair of scissors. It wasn't a pair of scissors, apparently. I've got an audio from somebody who is actually holding the item. It was a gimbal. The person had actually jumped down to try and help Rosie, and the gimbal came with them. And because of the size of the gimbal, it just ended up on. It didn't hurt her, but it was on her neck. And I have that audio here. But for the moment, let's just watch this play out.
Go home, Posie! Go home!
As you can see, that's the gimbal. It's not a pair of scissors.
Yeah! Fuck you!
You're right, you're right.
behind the red one.
Get the fuck out of here. Okay. Excuse me. Go.
Watch up the other side. Security.
Okay. Oh my God. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Just get us to the police station to be fine.
I thought they were going to crush us to death. Oh my God.
All security units go to 48 Unity Place, Josh.
He's quite a big guy next to me.
Sorry, man.
It's all right.
Get all the guards to Emily Place now. Out of here.
Now, if anybody is a part of my Facebook page called State of the Nation, here it is here. If you are here on State of the Nation, then you will also know that I've also called for alternative media after the attack on Liz Gunn last week to start getting themselves better organized, because they're not very well organized, and it's very sort of split up. And there's a lot of division amongst the crews. But what really has to happen is that we technically are the new media. We are the media. The media has forsaken us. They're not interested in actually telling the truth anymore. They are doing what they're paid to do. And I have some information that, the New Zealand media are contractors now. They don't actually work for the state. So as long as they reach their basic goal of achieving what the state wants them to achieve, then they're going to get paid. And we're technically working with a privatized media operation which no longer works for the state, but does indirectly, but doesn't represent anything which is of real value to New Zealand. So this fiasco carries on. It carries on. And this video came out from Mana News Live. And the Greens Party co-leader Marama Davidson is a very proud rainbow community. But when you look at it, it kind of reminds me of a documentary I saw many years ago, and it's called Demons Are Real. And it just shows the way that people will turn on the mass population. People in power are hungry, and they have a sort of devilish side to them. And this is an absolute great example of this, to be honest. And I'm just going to flip this over. And unfortunately, I can't get it any bigger than what it already is. But there's actually another video there. But this is a mashup from Mana News of 3 different shots. I've got each shot individually coming up a little bit later. But let's take a look at what Mana News thinks about all of this.
Hey guys, Hannah here from Counterspin, former Green Party member. Can you just tell me, what did you guys think of Posie Parker being violently assaulted and having what looked like tomato sauce tripped all over?
We are here to reject the violence and hate, to reject the violence and hate, to reject the violence and hate of transphobia. We are here to raise love for our trans people and community above hate. And I'm so proud, and I'm so proud, and I'm so proud, and I'm so proud, and I'm so proud of the mobilising of everything across so many communities to stand in strong solidarity, because trans people are terrific.
So you condone that violence? You condone that violence against you?
Trans people are terrific. Trans people are true. Trans people are fantastic. And trans people are tired of being oppressed and discriminated. I am the Prevention Violence Minister, and I know who causes violence in the world. That is white cis men. That is white cis.
Oh, so it's people like me that cause violence in this world. white cis. What even is a cis? Huh? What's a cis? What am I supposed to be wearing a dog collar? Should I have like little ears? No. Am I supposed to allow someone to just lead me down the street on all fours like a little dog playing puppy play? Should I let them hang me up on an X and whip me a little bit more? This is what these people are really after. This is the whole agenda behind all of this. It's sexual perversion. The whole thing is sexual perversion, right? And if you look at history, if you look, I'm sure people have seen the movie Caligula, right? Caligula. Fantastic example. And when you go back and look at history, you see that there are two fundamental reasons why empires fall. Number one is financial illiteracy. Okay, well, we could just call it corruption if we want to, but it's financial illiteracy. They don't really get what they're doing. The second one is sexual perversion, overt sexual perversion. Like when you get to the point where like they're just having like mass orgies in front of horned gods and that sort of thing. I'm not even going to get into porn, but we're talking about open sexual perversion, and this is a part of this open sexual perversion, which is actually targeted at kids. Which really, what the hell? What the hell? They shouldn't be anywhere near kids. These people are confused. They're super duper confused, and they should not even be near any of our children. I'm still a teacher, and I work in Asia, and this stuff would be no. Any kind of reference to this sort of thing, you'd be out. These people are not out, and yet they're starting to take over our schools. They're starting to take over our media. They are literally destroying everything, and they're doing a very good job of it as well. So I'm going to X out of that, and we're going to go to our next video, which I believe is okay. So this is her original video. This is the Zeitgeist. I'm familiar with the Zeitgeist a little bit, but let me just share this tab instead and get this thing fired up. But yeah, I happen to know Hannah. I worked with her back in the days, well over 10 years ago. Yeah, well over 10 years ago now. I just checked the date. Her and I, we don't have a lot of communication about this stuff, even though since the convoy started up, I've had many opportunities to work with Counterspin Media, but I just have not got around to it. And we have a very different approach to it, and that's fine with me. And this woman is a very pregnant woman, and she's actually standing in front. She was actually in the front line. She's a pregnant woman, right? She's a pregnant woman, and she's standing in the front line. That, to me, tells me something about a person's character. Regardless of what all this stuff that people say over the past year, since what happened in Freedom Village, which I was never there anyway, so I couldn't really impact that very much. But still, a lot of stuff came out. But a very pregnant woman got in front of these people and defended her right to speak. And so heads up to people. Heads up. There are much stronger people than you out there. And if you're sitting on the sideline just watching videos and not actually doing something about it, then you're going to walk into a world of hurt, and these people are trying to protect you. And I'm very glad to see that they're still out there and going for it. So I'm going to switch tabs now, and we're going to listen to it without all the excess noise. We're going to sit down and listen to what this woman says. What is her name? Marama Davidson says the problem is white cis men. The problem isn't white cis men. The problem is the woke mentality. The problem is the far left agenda of eradicating normalcy and creating this as a new normalcy, right? Eradicating a God-centered universe and making it an idiot-centered universe. Essentially, that's what it is. They're all idiots at the end of the day. There's a thing called the conjugate cycle. Weak men create hard times, strong men create good times. And these weak people are creating very hard times for people because they will not allow strong people to take control. So without further ado, here we go. Let's crack into it. Okay, we seem to have a bit of a problem with that one. It didn't actually flip over. Let's just go back. Share this tab instead.
That is white cis men. I am a prevention violence minister, and I know who causes violence in the world. It is white cis men. That is white cis men.
Okay, but so what is a woman? What is a woman?
So trans are taonga.
What's a woman?
Trans women are women. Te ao Māori was never so boring as binary. I am tangata whenua, and I say transphobia is.
And again, I say demons are real. This is a pure example of a demon in human flesh. You know, I'm not even overly religious, but I can see something is wrong in these ages, in these times. Something is definitely very, very wrong. And the demons are out. The demons are trying to take over the school. The demons are trying to take over the government. Well, they've already successfully done that. And the demons are trying to take over the media, and they're very good at that. You know, I saw the other day the morning show using a gun and shooting a Trump effigy. I mean, come on, guys. You know, this is the first country to get the women's vote, right? We were the first country to say no to nuclear weapons. Remember that Heineken commercial? Yeah, that's us. We were that. So why are we letting this happen now? It doesn't make any sense to me. But let's go ahead and let's listen to this one more time, because I think this is really important.
I am a prevention violence minister, and I know who causes violence in the world. It is white cis men. That is white cis men.
Okay, but so what is a woman? What is a woman?
So trans are taonga.
And what gets me is this is so BLM. This is completely BLM. And you can see the woman there is a white female. So when are we going to start targeting white females, people? Right? Or you've obviously targeted one today, but when are the white females going to be targeted? Because that's next. You can see what's happening in the US. They're like literally beating them up in the street. It's horrendous what's going on. You know, and if I was an overly spiritual person, well, not spiritual, religious person, which I am slowly really, really becoming, then I would imagine that the demons have taken over, because the amount of violence that is in our world right now, well, it's in the Western countries. It's actually not in the rest of the world. It's in the Western countries. It's amazing. Like it's astounding how this is even really taking place, and how people are just literally just sitting back and just taking. Let's go back and finish that sentence.
What's a woman?
Trans women are women. Te ao Māori was never so boring as binary. I am tangata whenua, and I say transphobia is not welcome.
I am tangata whenua, but the evil kind. The evil kind. Now, people might think, you're a cis male. No, I'm also Māori. Okay? I have the right to vote as a Māori. Half my family is Māori. Right? I may not be that high up there on the lingo, but half my family is Māori. I'm genetically Māori. She doesn't represent me one tiny iota. She doesn't represent me at all. Let's listen to this demon finish it out.
Yeah. I am a prevention violence minister, and I know who causes violence in the world. It is white cis men. That is white cis
It looks like she finished it out anyway. So there you go. See, this is your representation. So you're going for the Greens. Everybody in Parliament right now, did they ever turn up to Wellington? Did they ever come down to talk to anybody? Let me think. Oh, no, they didn't. What are they doing? They're playing the narrative. They're playing the agenda, right? And they're also paying people to come in as infiltrators and mess up the whole unity system. They're doing their very best in New Zealand. Trust me, they're doing their very best. But it's not over yet. It's not over yet. There's a great comment, and I'm going to read it out. I'm going to cover the guy's face, but I'm going to read it out. And yeah, let me just read this to you and flip over. We're going to go over to our new Facebook page called the World Unity Food Drive, New Zealand. We actually set this up to help the people who are suffering in New Zealand right before the Hawke's Bay thing hit. So it's been sort of on the side at the moment because there's been so much heavy assistance required in Napier that we've not been able to achieve our goal at this point. But we are, once that calms down, we are going to bring this back in. Okay, so who is grooming these leaders of the trans movement? And that's a brilliant question. Their dialogue doesn't speak to the issues. Absolutely. It comes across as role playing and scripted messaging. It does, absolutely. You know, I went to film school. I'm a director. I'm a qualified television director. I know what dialogue is. This is dialogue. This is a narrative. I suspect that because government, MSM, mainstream media, is having less control over free thinking citizens. And so now, as in the Wellington debacle, they're seeding citizen groups like this trans movement. And actually, this person is spot on. They've actually been seeding it for quite a while. But they've been picking and choosing their moments when to release the Kraken. And they're trying to release the Kraken now because they think that they have nailed down and got rid of the freedom movement. They actually literally think that. So now they can go forward with plan B, which is to release the full division offense. Chaos and public disorder is the ultimate intention, which allows them to justify police enforcement. Absolutely, that's what they want. They want any kind of crisis so they can quickly send in the clowns. The clowns that'll go in there and beat everybody up and attack people and keep them down and keep them quiet. And then while they're doing that, they'll send in little agents to come in and befriend all the most popular people and get them on their side and then start working their magic, their word magic, their spells. They're going to be working their word magic and their spells, and they're going to be creating division. And they're going to be attacking people who are actually doing the right things, right? So chaos and public disorder is their ultimate intention, which allows them to justify police enforcement to the end. The confrontations and show dominance. Now, this is their key. He's right. This person is absolutely correct. He's right. People as activists need to be smarter and not buy into their game. Bing, right there. Bing, right there. That's it. Don't buy into the game. Don't buy into it. Only the angry, confused public are easy bait. He's right. They're easy bait. Anybody that's confused is so easy, like these trans. They're completely easy to manipulate. They don't even know that they're being used as a tool for the far left, for the elite, for the globalists, right? Because this goes back all the way to Babylon, right? The whole idea of the sexual innuendos of perversion. This goes back to paganism. This has got nothing to do with Christianity whatsoever. We need to stay calm, watch what's on the pathway ahead, and don't trip ourselves up over these staged confrontation events. He's right on. This whole thing was staged, absolutely staged. 2,000 people turned up, men turned up dressed as women and beat up a bunch of old ladies and women. Come on. You don't have to be a genius to figure this stuff out. This stuff is like 101 psyop here. Okay. He says, he goes on to say this was a setup for Posie, and I absolutely believe her because I definitely believe personally that it was a setup. And where were the men standing silently behind their woman in support of women's rights to speak on? Now that's a point. That's why I'm very appreciative of groups like Man Up, the work that they've done in Napier, and I know Brian Tumbler gets a lot of flack, and I know there's a lot of I even love Billy TK. All of these people do really good work, and at some point they've got to cross over, and they've got to get rid of all of these people who are pushing them to say things that they don't want to say, because there is a deliberate plan to divide everybody. They don't want us unified. So I think once we can actually get to that point where we can realize that that person said that's but he said, she said, he said, she said, and it wasn't even real. It wasn't even true, but it caused a division. So this is what's been going on. This is my observation for the past 1 year in New Zealand. So this gentleman has a suggestion that we establish a men and women's voice, a combined right to speak in support of Posie Parker's initiative, not necessarily Posie Parker, but her initiative, and calmly share those views online and public spaces. So while he's welcoming the Kraken there, he's opening the bottomless pit of hell if he's going to do that, because this is now a hot button topic. Okay, so you can see this really start to heat up, and they're going to turn it on now. The government are losing, and they know because we've been winning. The government are absolutely losing, and they know they're going to turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, and they're gonna try and maximize the madness from all of this. So with going on with regards to non-cooperation of police in protecting our rights, it's evidence now we must engage our corporate security personnel to protect our people. Yeah, well, Billy Takahika actually figured that out, and so has Brian Tamaki. Right, so a lot of these small groups, they're sort of they're small, but when you get to this point, she should have had a lot more security there. But of course, nobody really knew about Posie Parker. She just came out like out of the blue. Some people know, but guys like me, I had no idea who she was until a few days before she landed. I started figuring out. I had a conversation with our Reignite Freedom people, and it was becoming a hot topic in Australia a week ago, and so it was very distracting as well. So we have to be very careful about all of these distractions. So I agree with him. We are under attack from our own government. Absolutely, we've been under attack for quite a while because they want to initiate all these Agenda 2030 programs, and the only way to do that is to literally destroy and deconstruct everything that we're used to living in. They have to deconstruct freedom. They have to deconstruct the way we eat, the way we purchase, the way we shop. They have to deconstruct education. They have to meet the Babylonian requirements. They have to sexualize the education industry. They have to keep us on poisons, right? They have to control the food industry. You can't eat organic because then that way, if you eat organic, then they can't put a certain poison that they want that they put in there, right? To make your hair fall out or make you that you can't have a child sterilize you, that sort of thing. So I really feel this. We're under attack from our own government, and every citizen is a target of control. Absolutely, they are a target of control. And this is indiscriminate, unfeeling assault on the people of this beautiful country. In fact, globally. He's right. New Zealand's just been a bit slow, but we've actually held it off for a year. We've saved ourselves an entire year. But I think, personally, if anybody watches this and has known me for the past 1 year and any of my work in the past, I think that this is probably a blessing, to be honest, because I think that this is going to drive more people, number one, away from the devil, away from demons. All right, that's number one. They're gonna move away from all of this. They're gonna this is actually more awakening than the actual convoy was. This is really hitting hard now. It's hitting in our schools. It's hitting home. The stuff with the convoy was very surface level, and yet everybody was right though. They were right. This stuff was dangerous, and it was never tested. But this stuff is actually targeting our children. Our children are being affected by all of this, and they're trying to manipulate our children and groom our children. So I agree. I said the same thing in my post yesterday. Don't lay down and accept it. Do not do it. Do not do it. Find somebody in your neighborhood that is standing up, hold their hand, and rise with them. This is our Convoy 2.0, if you ask me personally. This is a very necessary step to win again, because we've been winning. We've been winning. New Zealand has been winning. So we're going to go back to some more videos now. I've had my little diatribe there. So we're going to go back to this little freaky dude. Now, this guy doesn't even sound like a New Zealander. And this is the problem, that they have foreigners. They have foreigners reporting all of this stuff. I'm not sure if he's Māori at all. He doesn't really sound like Māori. Chanel sounds very Indian to me. Sounds like he's probably on a work visa. I don't know. He doesn't sound like a native Kiwi. He sounds like he's got the little twang of New Zealand accent in it, but he sounds like he was born somewhere else and came to live in New Zealand, and now he's being used by the globalists. So let me flip over and switch this tab, and let's play it out. This is a very short clip, only 42 seconds.
This is the first time I have feared for my own safety. But truthfully, I will not sit at home as Nazis and TERFs steal my right.
Oh yeah, you look really scared there, Chanel. I don't know who this is. Ko-fi.com. Chris Coveries support independent media. Yeah, yeah. Chanel looks really scared, doesn't he? He looks really scared that all of his biologically male friends dressed in skirts are beating up women and old ladies and elderly people, and just like they did in Wellington. And this is the agenda right here. This is only the next step of the agenda. They couldn't release it all at once, and they've been looking for the time to do it, and Rosie Parker gave them the opportunity to do this. But at the same time, freedom lovers, Rosie Parker was a blessing for us, even though we didn't really know that much about her. But it was a blessing for us because, again, you have to force the enemy out into the open. You have to force them out into the open. If you don't give them opportunity to come out to the open and not reveal themselves, then you don't know what you're fighting. So this, again, Posie Parker, thank you so much for what you've done. And I really apologize on behalf of all the freedom fighters in New Zealand of what they've done to you in that park that day. But you have allowed us to see just another step in the plan. Let's let this little snowflake finish.
To be who I am. I'm not sitting at home. So although I'm incredibly scared of being there, I will be there. Look.
Let me just flick back there for a minute. Gee. Those transgendered people look like they're really being attacked. Look how strong and burly these people are. Oi, Posie, bugger off, right? And this is what happens. It's the Antifa, the BLM. It's the Antifa, the BLM, and or everybody else that's getting paid, and the media and the state media. They're all responsible for all of this. They are the people who are responsible. So these burly young men don't look like they're in major trouble. So let's finish what these snowflakes say.
Look at the amount of queer hatred that has been in our country.
I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. I'm so happy that all my big burly men beat up old women and children and poured tomato juice on the lady. Oh, I'm so liberated now. No, you're not liberated. You've just now become the main reason why we will win. This cannot carry on. It's not carrying on around the world. Look at what's going on around the world. These people, the regular, normal people with half a brain cell and very highly intelligent people have figured this stuff out. These people are the dumbest. This is the problem. They don't realize that they are completely stupid, useless tools. So let's let this twirling. It looks like one of those, remember the days of the old school? Yeah, they're going around and whee! Ay, Mamma mia, I tell you. Okay, let's let this snowflake finish it. I don't know where that music came from. That sounds like Japanese. There must be another video playing. All right, so we kind of lost that shot, but anyway, there you go. Even Japan's waking up to it. Yeah, even Japan's waking up to it. Like we're all waking up to it. That, without a doubt, we're all waking up to it. It's just hard yakka. Because there literally is quite a majority of people now who are quite awake to this. But the problem is that the minority of people are still watching the news. and they're watching the news, and they continue to pay their taxes, and that's what's funneling all of this. That's what's fueling all of this, right? So let's flip over to the next one. Now, I don't know much about Rosie Parker, so let's just hear a little bit about what she says. I found this, haven't really listened to it, only heard a few seconds of it, but let's play this for a couple of minutes and see what we can get out of this lady, because she seems to be a bit of an enigma to me, and she's definitely going for the Marilyn Monroe effect and stuff like that. She can very well be, controlled opposition. Who knows? But the point is, she's also the blessing is that she's been able to get them to come out, and we need that all the time. If we don't allow this stuff to happen and they don't come out, then we don't know what we're up against. So let's find out what she says.
I don't know what's going on, but let me just say, I'm a women's rights campaigner. So to all you wonderful, what are you called? Humorously called journalists who keep calling me anti-trans, your misogyny is showing. It's like a bulge in a tight skirt of a man wearing some women's clothing. It's not pretty. So let's just have a look what the New Zealand Herald says. I just want to remind you all about defamation and libel and what happens if you say something about someone that isn't true. And if you put it in the media, or if you're a politician sitting in Parliament, or if you're a journalist and you put things that aren't true and you put it in print, it's a really dodgy thing to do. So I just want to remind you of that. And nothing would please me more if it doesn't absorb too much of my time to sue you for defamation or libel, whichever is the most lucrative, to be frank. So let's have a look. New Zealand Herald, Katie Harris, she's written to me asking for an interview. So we'll see if she can do that. So to Prime Minister Chris Hipkins. Can you believe it? Like the Prime Minister of New Zealand is commenting on whether or not I am going to get my visa revoked. Well, I don't have a visa. I have as he rightly says, I have something else because I'm British. Prime Minister Chris Hipkins has commented after revelations Immigration New Zealand will be reviewing whether or not an anti-transgender activist, a woman who doesn't think penises belong in women's changing rooms, who doesn't want girls having their backs broken on the rugby pitch because there are men playing on the opposite team. That's what I do, right? That's what I talk about. I talk about the safeguarding of children and the erosion of women's rights. So if you call me anti-transgender, you wholeheartedly admit that transgenderism is in direct conflict to women's rights. Men in women's spaces is in direct conflict to women's rights. That's what you just do, right? So let's just make that really clear. Should be allowed to travel without a visa. UK activist, me, also known as Posie Parkers, due to travel to speak in both Auckland and Wellington for her Let Women Speak tour. The irony of people trying to stop me speaking with my Let Women Speak tour is not lost on me, people. It's not lost on me. Hipkins said he commended people who use their right to free speech in a way. He condemned. That was Freudian, wasn't it? Who use their right to free speech in a way that seeks to deliberately create division. Yeah, women's rights is so divisive if you're a freaking misogynist. He said it applied to both the anti-transgender rights discussion and the Nazi messaging. I'll tell you what, Chris. Tell you what, Mr. Prime Minister, Chris Hipkins. Let me just tell you this. Revoke my visa at your peril. Let's see what happens. When you stop a woman who is a women's rights campaigner, when you stop her from being able to come and facilitate the speech of women in your country, Maori women, as well as other women across New Zealand, when you stop those women talking, you just, why don't you throw down that particular gauntlet? Why don't you do that? Yes, I'm still on for Hobart tomorrow. It's totally unfathomable. Unless everybody hates women, it's totally unfathomable that people would be so afraid of us talking.
And she has nailed it right there. Why are they afraid of people talking? That doesn't make any sense to me. The first country to allow women's rights, the first country to stop nuclear weapons to the country. We're the first country to, Lord of the Rings, right? Lord of the Rings. We're the first country to work in that field of technology. We're the first of everything, and we're also the first guinea pigs of the ATM ethos of a cashless society. So she's quite right. Now, I want to read out some comments here. I've got some comments that I've lined up here, and this is, let me just share this tab. All right, so this is 3 days ago. This thing only happened 2 days ago, so this was the day before this happened. And the website is www.standingforwomen.com, Let Women Speak, Auckland. And that's the dates, right? 11 to 1 p.m., Albert Park. Well, that was her first mistake. Albert Park, I mean, that's lefty paradise. I've been to university in Auckland. I wouldn't have even touched that one. Would have been better off going to Michael Jackson Savage or something like that, but not the university. The university is just spilling out. That's why they got so many people. I was a university student back in the days, and whenever they had a protest, they just handed out signs. That's all they did. I didn't even know. I held a sign. I didn't even know what I protested about, and my sign was carpool for chocolate fish. It must have something to do with pollution or something like that. I worked with the New Zealand Foundation for Peace Studies to make nuclear weapons illegal, and it got ratified at the United Nations, and I was one of the first 2 people to work on that. And it got handed down a year later to another group, and finally 2-3 years later, it got all the way to the top of the United Nations, and it was ratified that the illegality of nuclear weapons. But the point is that I actually knew what I was doing then. But when I was carpooling for chocolate fish with my sign, I had no idea what the protest was about. But because I was on campus on the day, they just got a whole bunch of people together, and it looked really powerful. This is how the left work. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some of these contents. So, this Colleen Palmer person, right? Ha ha ha. That went down well, didn't it? Go home, Parker, go home. Ha 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 ha. And then Mark Roberts says, "What a shameful day for New Zealand, an atrocity against free speech," and he's quite right. And then you got this Colleen Parker. I don't know if she's a real person or just a made-up character on Facebook. Probably a made-up character on Facebook, run by the system. Goodbye and good riddance. And Janet Holland, big ups to you. Why are you afraid of women talking? Glad to hear. Let women speak. Seems they're afraid. Thank you, Posie. And they're right. And there's a whole bunch of this stuff. You can go on and on and on and on and on. You can go on about it, but the fact of the matter is, women are losing their rights in New Zealand. Absolutely. Not only are women losing their rights, children are losing their minds. And it is a war. There is a war, a definite war going on. So we're going to flip over now to some YouTube stuff. Okay, now I thought this was really interesting. Let me just share this a little bit and just give some context here. This is not what I expected. This is in the tune of Old Lang Syne. But again, power to these women. Give the power to these women. It's a 2-minute video.
We stand together side by side. We will defend
Fight for women's rights are human rights. We won't let you forget. For women's rights are human rights. This isn't over yet.
I thought this was really important. Menstruator, pregnant person. Come on, man. Birthing parent. No, it's a pregnant mother. It's an expecting mother. Non-man. How do you know this is a non-man? Unless they came from Thailand or something like that, maybe. Individual with cervix. What? Individual with cervix? You mean a female? Vulva owner. I mean, how do you own a vulva? Now, I've heard of people owning a Volvo, but I've never heard of a person owning a vulva. But let's just play this for a little bit more.
Politicians and their friends may think we can recount our minds and bodies will defend our no ring out loud. For women's rights are human rights. We won't let you forget. For women's rights are human rights. This isn't over yet. So give us a hand and sister, our sex won't be denied. For dignity, reality, we are standing side by side. For women's rights are human rights. We won't let you forget. For women's rights are human rights. This isn't over yet.
The most despicable things, really, really dangerous. And I can't even tell you all the things that have happened, but I will be able to once I get back to the UK. But if I was in New Zealand,
Police present during the Wellington convoy, but yet they're very light security, and it looks like that she's employed some basic security. I think when it comes to security, you could probably talk to Billy Kahika. I think he's got security down pat, and probably Brian Tamaki as well. And that's people have to learn. People have to learn about this. This is not going to be done in a nice way for the most part. The dreamy way. It's not really going to be done like that. It's going to be a little bit tough, but it has to also be well organized and make common sense. So let's see if we can just skim through this video. So she's been done here. You can see she's been already. This is it. Let's just watch this for a moment. I'm just going to take myself away, and you can just watch it for yourself. I'll apply some commentary because I have not actually seen this footage before myself. I'm bringing this all together off the cuff. So we can see that it hasn't quite heated up yet. She's been attacked already, and I'm assuming that very shortly it's going to come down. It didn't take very long from the video footage that I saw. So far, everything's being very calm and quite collected. And this is from her phone, it would seem. It's from her phone that she's streaming herself. So I think that was the mark right there. That sound was probably the mark. It's supposed to go to a hell in the hen in the hell basket. Hell in the hen basket. Very soon it will quickly go down south. Nice and calm looking. And most of these people, I know how this stuff works at university. There's just a bunch of sign writers that make signs, and they just wind up university students, and they're on campus. I mean, it's not difficult to get 2,000 students on campus to roll up. Not difficult at all. But there will always be a group of people that will be the leaders, you see, and that's how it goes. You see, a lot of these people aren't even privy to what's really going on in the agenda. They just feel that they support trans people, and which is fine. But they are manipulated by these far leftist leaders that wind everybody up. They wind them up, and they make them feel like it's the end of the world. And that's essentially what happened at the university protest anyway. Most of the people don't even know why they're there.
They're properly coming in. They're everywhere. You can't get out.
I guess we might call this video State of the Nation React, because I've not seen any of the footage before today because I've been at work, but I saw the basic showdown yesterday from the Mana News live video. And so I'm saying this fresh just like you are, so I'm going to let it play out, even though it's a little bit long, but you got to see how it actually played out organically. And it would take me days to edit this to give it in a proper doco style. So let's just roll with it. It looks like we're hitting up now. Yep, there we go. Yep, we're hitting up now. Now she's getting ahead. Yeah, we can see now. There's something going down now. There you go. That's her. She's holding her phone. Now, apparently somebody else has a gimbal or a gimbal. They're actually trying to help her, but the way that the thing played out, they kind of got crossed over with each other and stuck in that mess. But now you can see the insanity around them, which is going on. It's still only 6 a.m. in New Zealand, though. Oh, there you go. That's the gimbal right there. That's clearly a gimbal. That's clearly a gimbal. They're kind of pressed up against each other because of the weight of the people. You can see that's a gimbal. I don't think that was a pair of scissors. But anyway, she's trying to make her way out of the crowd. They've got her covered now. Right, all right. So she's technically in a safe space now. But there's other video footage as well. Let me just go on to the last stages of this. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but let me just go on to the last stage of. This is going to go on for another 5 minutes. Well, let's just play it. Because at least it'll be a concise record of what took place. I'm going to let that play. I'm going to remove myself and let that play.
Oh my God! Thanks so much. Yeah.
Just get us to a police station, it'll be fine.
I thought they were going to crush us to death. Oh my God.
All security units go to 48 Emily Place, Josh.
He's quite a big guy next to me.
Sorry, man.
It's all right.
Get all the guards to Emily Place now. Out of here. Come on. ABB85. Yeah, you got Packers just trying to get her out of the crowd. Copy. We're in the marked car.
Oh my god. You're right.
Sorry, 10-4.
I think I might have lost my case, but saved my life.
AFib on Princess. You just lock the doors for us, please, MJ. If you can.
Ah, spitting on a police car. That's a good idea. Jesus. Just don't want men in our spaces, and this is what happens. Do you think it'd be worse in Wellington?
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to
I think so.
say that
We
say
can't
we
have
can't
this.
do
I can't
it.
protect you
No. Okay.
against hundreds of thousands of people.
No. Okay. Can we possibly go to your like a
Station?
police station?
Can we go to College Hill?
Yeah, please, if that's all right. I just feel there's somebody put a threatening note through my door in my hotel today, so
We'll just go to your station for a while if you don't mind. This College Hill will be fine, that'd be great. Ops Command, ABB85. Just on Wellesley, we're going to bring the package to Auckland City Hub. Copy.
that guy who told all the lies about me in the news.
You guys need an ambulance or anything? I see a bit of blood there, sir. Or is it food?
Oh no, it's food, tomatoes,
Tomato
soup.
sauces. You guys need any injuries or anything like that? I've got no injuries.
Add myself back into the stream now. Yeah, that's it. You know, let women speak. Auckland didn't really let anyone speak, did they? A bunch of men in dresses with testosterone, and they were actually supported by actual men. I think it's disgraceful, personally. I think the whole thing is absolutely disgraceful. Let's see if I can remove that. I think the whole thing is absolutely disgraceful, personally, and I'm really surprised. Well, not really, because I knew this was coming, and well, we finally got there anyway. But now we have to deal with it. So, but it's just one part of the battle, if you ask me personally. All you got to do is say no. All you got to do is get together. All you got to do is just forget about who he said, she said, he said, blah, 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 blah. And you need money. You actually need money to fight these people. You need money. Don't be afraid to make money. Don't. You need money. These people have unlimited bank accounts. They can pay these people $1,000 a day, just like they were doing in China and Chinese protests. They will pay $1,000 a day to get people to get out there. They have unlimited accounts. So that the New Zealand media, alternative media, has to get off this idea that they're doing everything for free. There's no way you're going to win. You can't win if you're doing it for free. Calling someone a grifter that's working like this, like me, or like Counterspin, or like Liz Gunn, or even RCR, which, well, that's new, but you can't do it for nothing. You're not going to achieve anything. So don't be afraid to ask for money, but sell something at least, sell something. Don't just ask for money and just get it. Sell something. Add value. You'll get there. But this battle needs money because they have unlimited amounts of money, and you're not going to win if you ain't got no cash. All right, that's it. The end of story. So thank you very much for joining me on my pre-launch of the new launch of the old launch of the State of the Nation. I would have loved to have some people with me tonight, but anyway, it was much better doing it by myself because I got everything I wanted to get done, and I achieved my goal today. And so we're going to close out the night with my favorite song, My Old East Coast, which is my soundtrack for State of the Nation. Part 2, New Zealand. Part 2. The State of the Nation is pathetic, but you can take it back. All right, we're going for sharing this tab. Now we're going to get some music out here. Be safe, New Zealand. Be safe and stay out of trouble, but also save your country. I'm out. I'm definitely out of here. Let me get that. That's not quite working. Just a moment. Here we are. Oh. Yep. Cool. We have a strange scenario going on here. Okay. I'm just going to finish it up again. My I see I canceled the presentation. So yeah, thank you anyway for everybody that has actually bothered to sit and watch this video. It's an hour and 18 minutes, an hour and 20. I actually wanted it to be just an hour, but 20 minutes is okay. It was worth it. It was worth it. And this is a brand new system for me, so thank you so much for appreciating it. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to check out our other podcast with Rosie Convoy called Between Two Flags, which will happen every Wednesday from now on. We had to shift from Friday because of the time zone differences. But yeah, I'll be coming out at least once a week, and we'll also have another podcast with Rosie Convoy. So at least twice a week now. And eventually I'll be selling something, but not right now. When I find a really good, definitely I'll be selling t-shirts. I've already had a t-shirt operation going for quite a while, but I've not promoted it. But yeah, of course, to make this kind of media, to especially now I'm not even editing, but to do all the nitty gritty editing stuff and make it cool, man, you got to have some funding. So here we go, and take care, New Zealand, and stay out of trouble, and always be free.
With this feeling, I can leave. I'm working and I'm dreaming. Will you dare to give it over and walk by my side? Do you see the road? Do you hear its call? Do you want a part of it? Just getting me above now. Just getting me above now. See the sun goes down, driving lights, hitting hearts, counting trees around. This is our day to treat. My heart, it's caused